Welcome to season 3 of Two Girls with Grief. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Kendel, and together we're just two girls figuring out how to live with grief the best we can.
This season, we wanted to have real conversations about building a beautiful life with grief. Because while grief never fully goes away, we believe it's still possible to build a life that holds love, joy, and even hope alongside it.
Our hope is that these episodes will be a resource for both new and seasoned grievers, whether you're in the early days of loss or years down the road.
And just a reminder, we're not professionals, we're just professional grievers. This is a safe place for honest stories, tools, and reflections that remind you you're not alone in this.
So thank you for being here, for listening, and for letting us share this season with you. We're so grateful you're with us for season 3, Building a Beautiful Life with Grief.
Welcome to a special mini Thanksgiving episode of Two Girls with Grief. We'll be doing 3 mini episodes this season, one today for Thanksgiving, one for Christmas, and one for New Year. We wanted to do these episodes because we wanted to hold space for anyone that's facing any grief during this holiday season.
If you're grieving, this holiday can feel complicated. If this is your first Thanksgiving without you love, or the 10th one, this episode is for you.
Thanksgiving is framed as a day of gratitude, but grief often brings loneliness, dread, guilt, and emotional exhaustion. So the complete opposite of what everyone's telling you to feel on this day.
We're hoping that this episode gives you an invitation to feel whatever you need to feel. That is either doing less if you normally do a whole bunch for your family, creating new rituals, or skipping traditions that just don't serve you or feel good this year.
Many grievers say the hardest part of Thanksgiving is the expectation to appear grateful. Grateful for a holiday when your loved one or loved ones are no longer here feels impossible, and we totally understand that. I've lost both my parents and my sister. Kendall's lost her dad. We're both really feeling that this holiday season.
Grief and gratitude can coexist, but they don't always work together when they need to. At times, they feel at odds. But your only job this Thanksgiving is just to be honest with yourself and really root yourself in what you're feeling.
Thanksgiving may no longer look like what it used to. For me today, I'm spending it at my cousin's house. It's going to be a smaller Thanksgiving party. It does look nothing like it used to, but I am trying to go into today with optimism and some positivity that today will be a good day. Previous years, I've always overcooked, overbaked as a way, I think, to ignore the holiday. But this year, I'm really toning it down. I'm only making 2 dishes, and I'm trying to give myself space to just really feel the holiday and really actually try to enjoy it and not overwork myself. So it's not a perfect system. It's been 11, 9, 7 years that I'm still figuring it out. So I hope that wherever you are on your grief journey, that you feel less alone in hearing that story that, I'm still figuring it out, even if it's been many years later. But Kendall, what are you doing today?
Yeah, the past few years I've rewatched the Lord of the Rings movies. I love them, but they're kind of a hefty series to get through. So I just kind of dedicate Thanksgiving to rewatching all the Lord of the Rings movies because that's just what I want to do. And then I'll rewatch the Harry Potter movies on Christmas because they both kind of have that theme. But then I really don't have a place to go on Thanksgiving. And in the past, I would just watch these little series and call it a day. But shout out to Nancy for adopting me this Thanksgiving. She's definitely a kind and sweet heart who doesn't want people to be alone on Thanksgiving. And so shout out to those people who just invite the misfits and the orphans and want to make sure people feel included on Thanksgiving.
I love that. And I think the really important part is to be flexible during this holiday season, because I think when you want it to be how it was before, that's impossible, right? It will never look or feel exactly how it used to when your loved one or loved ones were still here. So being open, like we've talked about it before, being Goldilocks to figure out what feels the best.
Mhm.
And every year you get to try something new. So this year, Kendall is going to hang out with Nancy, and hopefully that is an amazing time. And Kendall's very friendly and social, so I'm sure she'll still have a good time, regardless of the party. So I hope that shows people, it might not look traditional, but it still can be a good time. And it's amazing how there's people like Nancy that do that, like Kendall said.
Yeah, and I hope in the future when the time comes, I could be that for somebody else who, if I ever find someone in our positions of grief who don't have a family to go to on the holidays, that in the future I could be that person for somebody else.
I love that idea, hosting for the people that have nowhere to go or have no regular plans, I think that's a beautiful thing to do.
So, we love to give our listeners practical tools on how to handle things. So, what are some tips that you have for getting through Thanksgiving grief?
Now, hopefully, you're listening to this on Thanksgiving Day, so this tip can actually be helpful. But I think creating a little plan for your day is really helpful because I think usually on days like this, we overthink, we wonder how it's going to feel, and create anxiety over days like this. So I think creating a soft plan for the day, even if it's like I'm going to cook this morning, I'm going to go to this place, I'm going to go to my family party at 2 p.m., whatever it is, just kind of giving yourself structure to feel a little bit more organized and hopefully kind of quiet some of the chaos in your head if this is how you feel. Because for me, I overthink how I think the day's gonna go and how I think like maybe I won't like this. And so I think creating a plan keeps me steady and thinking about like what I need to do for the day. So for me, I think creating that, and whether that is going to Thanksgiving with your family or friends or whatever, or whether that's like I'm gonna work out, I'm gonna clean, I'm gonna do something positive for myself, just kind of create a schedule for the day to like make it feel a little bit more organized and also I think things to look forward to.
Yeah, another tip that I think really lends itself into what you mentioned is being able to opt out of things that you feel obligated to in the past. You can always say no. You and I are always like, if use your grief as an excuse, if your grief is getting to you, like that's honest, but people will understand that. People will have sympathy and understand if your grief is getting to you. So if you need to leave early, if you need to go take a walk, if you need to change your mind about things, yeah, like you said, have that soft plan and be flexible. But have the agency to know that you don't have to say yes to everything and you don't have to take on all the stress and burden. Just do what you can and what you feel capable doing, and everything else just leave behind.
To add to that, I think we often think about everyone else and like we want to be polite and want to do this stuff, but when you're dealing with your own grief on days that it's really heightened, on days that you're really missing people, don't worry too much about other people's opinions or thoughts about that, like how you're personally feeling. But of course, always challenge yourself. I've done it before. I'm like, I won't like this. This will be too much, and maybe go for an hour or go for a little bit and see if that really does feel good or not. Because sometimes I think we can also seclude ourselves and isolate ourselves. So just keep it in mind. It's like a gentle balance of what is the right thing to do. But yeah, just always check in with yourself and your grief to know what is the best thing for you today. So the next one we have is to do something in remembrance, especially if you're missing your person or your people, is to do something in their honor. And that can be, that can be lighting a candle, it can be displaying their photo, it can be making their favorite dish, or even just like taking a moment of silence or sharing a story about them. Like do whatever you feel best about in order to like include them in the day, because I think that's the hardest part is like you wish they were there. And so find the one ritual that makes you feel like you're honoring them and not forgetting them on a day like this that they'd usually be a big part of. And that can vary, whether it's one of the suggestions or something else. Like, do what feels best for you to include them in the day.
Yeah, this next one I really love, which is choosing a person to lean on and confide in when things might get overwhelming or really emotional. Having someone who can see you in your full self and not think weird or think less than, or but that one person that you trust and who could potentially be going through the same grief journey you are. You may have lost the same person if this person is part of your family. But I think the whole point of being honest with your feelings, not trying to hide your grief, but not also feeling like you need to put it on display either, but just having that one person you can talk to or one person you can cry with but not feel alone. And people will do that. People will show up if you let them in, let them into your inner psyche and say, this day is going to be a little hard for me. They'll want to help you with that.
Also, I'll note that there are a lot of like support groups, like virtual Facebook groups, things like that. So if you don't have that community right now, there are going to be other people that are grieving all over the world feeling the same thing. So there's resources for you to look into if that's what you need right now. So another important tip is to eat something nourishing today. Like, actually take care of yourself, actually make time to eat. Previous years, I've overcooked, overbaked, and by the time Thanksgiving comes around, I don't even wanna eat anything, and there's been days where, like, I barely ate even though I cooked the majority of the food there because I was tired, I was exhausted, emotionally exhausted, and I never even got to enjoy the food. So, make sure that you take the time to actually, enjoy the community and whoever you're with. So whether that's Thanksgiving food, whether that's you making your own food or your friends or whatever, make sure that you actually eat today and take care of yourself and hydrate if you're crying today because I'm sure there's a lot of emotions when it comes to Thanksgiving. So hydrate if the tears are flowing.
So, Rachel, on Thanksgiving, if you are like us or any other grievers out there, what are some activities or things that you can do if you're alone and just trying to survive the day?
So for me, things that I'd recommend are going outside. Hopefully, it's not too cold where you are, but I think trying to be amongst any nature, like trees, bodies of water, oceans, to me, that always grounds me and gives me a lot of peace. I feel like when this holiday and loss feels like the biggest thing in the world, sometimes seeing things bigger than you and making yourself feel small in this world almost kind of grounds me in a way of like, okay, puts in perspective. There's so many things going on and I can handle this one thing. I'm a little piece in this big world. This is like what Kendall's doing today is like put on a comfort show, put on a comfort movie. Everyone has their different comfort movies, whether that is Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings or, whatever it is. Like put on something that just makes you feel good or just makes you feel comfortable. If you want to get into your feelings, you could write a letter to your person. I've seen a lot of people do like videos to their person. There are no rules. Do what makes you feel the most comfortable today. Sometimes when I just feel like lost or I'm missing them, I just talk out loud. I just express how I'm feeling. I talk to them like they were here. And sometimes that brings you peace because it's something that you used to do all the time and you don't realize how much you miss it by just being able to talk to them. Just do something that just reassures you that you're taking care of yourself, that like you're doing something positive for yourself today on a day that's hard, on a day that looks different, on a day that you feel loneliness. I would definitely do something positive for yourself and kind of, as I see it, is like it's not that you're like 100% happy or 100% sad. It's always like a scale. And so on a day where the sadness might be, the prominent feeling higher on the scale, try to do things that tip it back to make it a little bit more even.
Yeah, I love all those recommendations. And in my past few years, I've also used the holiday itself, as like almost an admin day of like, oh, I got to clean out this closet because it's full of junk. And, or like going through my clothes and being like, okay, what have I grown out of and what can I donate? Or we're working on gifts for other people and wrapping them. So you're focused on good things in your day, but it may not be completely related to the holiday itself. It really depends on you really getting to know your own grief and knowing where you're at. And like you said, kind of tipping the scale in which way it needs to go.
That's so important because we're all just figuring out, we're all just trying to experience as much happiness, hopefully still trying to experience as much happiness as possible. So if this Thanksgiving hurts, you're not doing it wrong. You're just grieving. And grieving is a form of love. We really wanted to do an episode for the holidays as a way to just be there for people that need to hear something, that maybe need reassurance, that maybe just need to be seen in their grief. And on days like this, it can be really hard. It can feel very empty. And we hope that these episodes are comforting to people to listen. They're just mini episodes, very easy to fit in while you're getting ready for the holidays or as you figure out what you're going to do for the day. And, we'll get through this holiday season together. And stay tuned for all the other episodes on the holiday season and just the regular episodes. We're really focused on trying to live the best life with grief. But we still want to acknowledge that days like this are hard and they require a little bit more TLC.
And as a reminder, we are not professionals, just professional grievers. So join us as we figure out our own grief one episode at a time.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.